Hey YouTube, Rook here from Rook, Geek, Goodness, my little channel on the web for all things geeky and cool. We have another action figure review we're taking a look at today, guys. This is John Stewart Green Lantern from the DC Comics Icon series. This is a fairly new figure. I picked it up about a month and a half ago or so. I picked him up with Ash from the Evil Dead series, this one, and the $100 mystery box I got at Tate's 10 sale. I'll put a card link in the description if you want to see where I actually got these guys from. As you may know or may not know, if you're new to my channel, I'm a really big Green Lantern fan. I mean, I got the shirts, I have the action figures, I have the statues, I have the artwork, I have everything Green Lantern. That was my guy growing up in the 90s. And not even this one, I was a big Kyle Rayner fan. If you're not familiar with Green Lantern, there's many Green Lanterns. But he was always my Green Lantern. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to go into our breakdown segment like we always do. If you're new to my channel, I have a breakdown segment with every video I do a review for. We'll actually break the figure down. I look at the figure itself, I look at the paint, the articulation, I look at the accessories, I look at how the figure's put together, both good and bad points. And I ask the big question at the end of my video and my final thoughts to the consumer, to you guys: is this worth your money? Should you go out and buy this figure? So with that being said, guys, let's go into the breakdown segment. Back shortly. We're in our breakdown segment taking a look at the DC Comics Icon Green Lantern John Stewart figure. Just so you guys would know, this is not your typical looking Green Lantern John Stewart figure. His costume was a little different, and that's because it's representing the Mosaic time period that he was in, which was many, many years ago. I think it was in the 80s or 90s, somewhere around those lines. That's why his suit looks a little different than what you normally see in the modern time. So let's actually look at the packaging first. That being said, it is a full window box, as you can see here, which would showcase the figure. We have a tray on the inside here which would be pushed in place, which would hold all of his accessories in place, which is really, really nice touch. Over here we have the number 15, which I believe is the 15th figure in this entire series. That's why it says that. And of course we have icons listed at the bottom. We have all the figures that are showcased in this particular wave. You have Joker, John Stewart, Firestorm, and we have Static, as well as our pictures at the bottom here and the word icons. And of course on this side we have, if you can see here with the light, Green Lantern John Stewart listed on the side. Now he does come with this little pamphlet, which I really, really like. It's a very simple pamphlet. It has Joker on one side, it has Firestorm in the middle, and you have, of course, John Stewart on the back. And what DC decided to do was showcase what this figure would look like with all its parts in place and how to attach them and what piece you need to attach them with. So I think this was a really, really nice touch that DC didn't have to do, but I like what they did with this particular little bit brochure. Now, looking at the figure itself, the only real negative drawback just on first glance is he's not a very bulky figure. I thought he'd be a little thicker. I mean, not Batman, Superman, thicker, but he was an ex-Marine, so you'd think he'd have a bigger, stockier build. But very, very slim, very streamlined. With that being said, looking at the paint, no blemishes. Everything is very, very clean. No breaks in the paint. Nothing done sloppy. I really like how they actually did this figure. Now, looking at the head sculpt here, guys, they did a really, really good job of his head sculpt. I don't know if you can see it here. Kind of get to the camera. Really, really good job here. So when you see this figure, you know it's John Stewart. Looking at that, that being said, let's actually go to articulation. Head itself is on a kind of a tight ball joint. He does have up and down movement. The arms can go up to a full T, as you see here. They can give you full range of motion, full 360 on the arms. He does have a double jointed elbow, as you can see here. This wrist does bend, and he has a as far as wrist go, he has a forearm. That's what I'm looking for. He has a forearm swivel as well, only because this entire arm comes off when you pop on the other interchangeable hands. And I'll get to that in a second here. He has that for both his arms. He does have a nice ab crunch, as you can see. Very, very good ab crunch. Great detail on the abs. The legs themselves can go, you can do a split if you wanted to. He does have thigh swivels, double jointed knees, as you can see here. He can do a big kick as well as the ankles. It goes to double jointed, as I said, double jointed knees. He does have ankle swivels as well as tilts, and you can actually swivel the ankle in 360 degrees. So you can get a lot of rotation out of this figure, a lot of movement. I really like that a lot. Now, looking at the accessories, he has two pairs of darker skinned hands. One actually has a power ring, as you can see here, sculpted in place. The other one's an open grip. Speaking of the power ring, he does have one attached already to the white colored skin hand here, as you can see. Great detail on it. I mean, it's not a huge amount of detail. It's kind of a green blotch, but you can tell that's a power ring. I mean, not a huge amount of detail, but enough to get by. And I'm okay with that. I have really no issues with that itself. You can pop these off, so we'll swap them out. When you pull his hands off, they're like little stubby arms now, as you can see here. So when you pop them in, they actually snap in place, and they're really tight when they snap in. So it's a very satisfying sound when you get them in place. So you know they're secure. So this one goes in place here, and as you can hear, it snaps in place. So you can have him displayed in this sort of effect if you wanted to. If you wanted to put him with his dark colored skin hands. If you want to go that route. We're going to go back to the normal white colored skin glove, because that's what he's normally known for in the actual comics. So we pop his hands in place. And the other one as well. There's one other big downfall, we'll talk about that in a second, that I see for his hands. And it snaps in place. Now, his first main accessory is his power battery here. Great detail on it. I'm going to drop it. He does have the Green Lantern symbol on the front. The handle does move. There's a lot of rotation on it. Great detail, great paint app as far as sculpt goes. Very clean. No, they didn't make it, cheap or anything. They didn't come up cheap with the plastic. So they did a good job on this. You can put this into his hand, but you have to be careful here, guys. His hand is kind of in a clenched grip. So when you put it in place, he can hold it. So it would look something along the lines of this, as you can see here. And I'll kind of stand him up with it. Fix his ankle. So he would hold it. So it looks something like that if you wanted to display him holding his power battery. Take that out, put that aside. Now, the really cool part about him is this interchangeable hand. Now this hand itself is a hole in the center, as you can see here. This hole is designed to hold all the constructs. Now the only bad part about this, he has this long, thin peg. I have a feeling over time that this could break or deteriorate. So be very careful about this peg here. It's very long. I don't want to snap it. So you simply pull it out, and it is identical to the other one, as you can see here. Long pegs for the hands. And when you snap it in place, it is kind of tight, so you'll feel it connect. Now, that hand is designed because of these three constructs. Let's look at the first one first. This is kind of like a little blasting effect. As you see here, it's translucent all the way through. There's a little nub portion at the end which plugs into the hand, and it kind of like, it's thick here, it's thin in the middle, and it thickens out again at the front. So to get this attached is really simple. You just simply plug it into the hole. It's as simple as that. I mean, literally, that's all you do. And he does hold it pretty well, as you can see here. So I like that effect. That's pretty cool. The next effect he has here is this kind of burst effect, as you can see. Kind of like it's coming off of like a beam's coming out. It's like splitting in multiple ways, in 4 different ways. And it is clear as well, this clear green effect. So I'll actually plug that one into place as well. Again, the same type of idea. You simply just plug it in. And if you look here on the side, it's like it's covering over his hand, like it's protruding from the ring, as you can see here. I really like that effect. I think it's really cool, the way they implemented this sort of, this construct blast effect. I like how that looks. Lastly is this weird starburst effect here. I don't know which one I would really display more. They all seem pretty cool. He has this really neat starburst effect. So what I'll do is I'll kind of put it against the white background so you can kind of see what it would look like. Kind of sort of like that. It's easier to see it. So it looks sort of like that. It's really long, and it is pointed. So, I mean, it is, you could break this. It is very fragile, so be very careful that it is pointed on all 4 ends and is circular in the middle. So you, again, same type of idea. You simply plug it into the wrist, just like the other ones, and you could display him like that if you wanted to. Again, a lot of different type of posability options here, depending what you wanted to display him with. You could display him sort of different fighting stances. If you didn't want the starburst effect, you simply just remove it. You can put the weird blast effect in place if you like this one better, which I like. That looks pretty cool. So I mean, you can do some really neat effects with these interchangeable parts, interchangeable effects. This would be dying to actually make an add-on kit. I think they're making one, I believe, but with more of the construct effects. I think it would be a really cool idea to have more of this sort of interchangeability with the blast effects, different constructs that the lanterns, in this case Green Lanterns or either other lantern cores, if they had add-on packs to do. I think that'd be a really cool idea. So I hope you guys like this breakdown segment. Let's go to final thoughts and wrap up this video. Okay guys, final thoughts on the DC Comics Icons Green Lantern John Stewart figure. I really like this figure. I think DC did a great job of building this new type of John Stewart figure with the crazy amount of accessories, the crazy amount of ways you could display the constructs, which I talked about in the breakdown segment. I absolutely love how they do that. I think the only real bad part to the drawback of this figure is the small stature he's in. I thought he'd have a bigger body, but it's very slim and narrow compared to your bigger, bulkier guys. But John wasn't really a big guy in the comics. I mean, he was decent sized for a Marine character, but I thought the bulk, or the buck, as far as what they call in toys, the buck should be a little bit bigger. So I don't want to ding him on that, but it looks a little different. I think the paint was solid. The constructs was, like I said, was really cool. Even the little Icons magazine that we talked about in the breakdown segment of how to actually attach the pieces, which is really cool. I like that idea. They didn't have to give you this, but I like how you can mix and match the parts around, and it works really well. Is it worth the money? That's a big question that you have to ask yourself. Again, I got this at Tate's Comics, and it was a little higher price point. This was a $28 figure MSRP pricing, so your mileage may vary as far as how much you actually pay for this figure. It cost me 28 bucks, so I mean, it's a little high for an action figure, but in my opinion, I think it's well worth it because I am a big Green Lantern fan. So I hope you guys like this review. Remember to like, thumbs up, always click that subscribe button, guys, and I'll see you in the next video. Take care, and bye-bye.